We asked the top 8 candidates for California governor the same question.
Should California delay its state climate goals?
Not everyone said yes, but no matter their side of the political spectrum,
when we have goals, they have to be achievable.
Is carbon neutral by 2045 achievable?
It's looking harder and harder to get there.
Regulation is killing everything in California.
I think it's time for us to evaluate them.
all top candidates suggested the climate goals in state law will need to be reassessed in some way. This, as the state grapples with uncertainty around its oil and gas supply following the closure of 2 oil refineries, plus issues around how those laws impact the cost of living in California.
First thing we're going to do, a moratorium on regulations that raise the cost of gas and jeopardize the existence of any more refineries.
We need more energy, and green energy is the path to getting there. But look, we don't have the same partner in the White House. That does mean that we're going to have to adjust the intermediate benchmarks, but I don't think we ought to be moving backwards.
We have to end the climate extremism on fossil fuels that have given us the gas prices that are the highest in the country.
So stop the climate goals.
Yeah, I'm not blaming the power companies. I'm going to be best friends with the power companies.
Oh, you will?
I guarantee you.
How so?
Because I'm going to take away the regulations that are destroying their business.
I think oil and gas should be phased out naturally over a 20-year period by investing in innovation and infrastructure. But do it in a way that doesn't punish working families, because right now we're losing people.
Even the Democratic climate activist in this race.
We need to have more refining capacity for the remaining internal combustion engines, for sure.
But wouldn't that be counter to some of California's climate goals right now, if we allow the refining capacity to open back up?
We're going to have that happen because, as you said, there's a base of people who need that, and people are not going to, scrap their car, which is a big capital expenditure for every family.
The state has a variety of benchmarks to try to cut the use of oil and gas by 2045. That includes a ban on the sale of new gas-powered cars by 2035, something most candidates signaled likely will not happen if they're elected governor.
Seems like we're not quite there yet.
I don't think we're on a pathway to get to that deadline, but I don't want to give up on the goal.
Would my dad have been able to switch out his pickup for an electric vehicle? I'd say chances are no, not right now.
In Sacramento, Ashley Zavala, KCRA 3 News.
And we asked the leader of the California Air Resources Board for their reaction to this. The board is in charge of putting many of the state's climate policies into motion. Governor Newsom recently tapped Lauren Sanchez to be the chair of the board. She told us she looks forward to working with the next governor on achieving a thoughtful balance between climate and affordability.